With a win in Bristol, Carl Edwards got his season off to a great start.
He punches his ticket to the chase in 2014.
Ooh, awesome, guys. Way to go.
We go inside the helmet with scan all 43.
Caution now, right up here in front of you. Watch your back.
Brakes were locked up, man. Brakes were locked up.
Man, everybody just stopped.
Dale Jr. and crew chief Steve Letarte finally get to ring the bell. NASCAR America is next. Welcome to NASCAR America. Today, Marty Snyder's hanging with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte, and I have the pleasure of hanging with Kyle Petty and Bobby Labonte. And also with us today is Jeff Burton from our Charlotte studio. Jeff, I'd like to start with you and ask, were you surprised at all at Carl Edwards' win on those older tires?
Yeah, you know, I really was surprised. I just saw early in the race and even midway through the race where new tires just seemed to be such an advantage. And for whatever reason, when Carl and those other guys stayed out, it really worked for them. You know, I thought when Kevin Harvick pitted, put on 4 tires, I thought he was coming to the front, but he really wasn't. I know he had trouble later, but even prior to that, he really wasn't coming that quickly. So, yeah, it did surprise me. There were a lot of surprises at Bristol. Now, with that win for Carl Edwards on Sunday, that has the first 4 races having 4 different winners. Here's your chase-eligible drivers.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
I can't believe this. This is better than the first one. Awesome freaking job, guys. Hell yeah.
Here comes Keselowski. Jr., I think, is out of fuel.
Brad Keselowski takes the checkered flag.
We're back in the chase. Hell yeah. Woo, awesome, guys. Way to go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 races, 4 different faces in victory lane to open up the Sprint Cup Series season.
If everybody is telling the truth and we've won a race, then we should be in it. So I'm not going to worry about it.
It's really a chance to enjoy the middle part of the year and just go out and race for wins and have fun. And I'm looking forward to that. This is going to be great.
I think it allows him to stretch fuel windows and do a few things. You can really get aggressive on really everything.
You get to go for wins. So now we're in that position. Unbelievable. I mean, I'm going to sleep like a baby. This is great.
4 races, 4 different winners, 4 drivers now eligible for the chase. That's where we stand entering this week's race at Fontana. In the chase era, that's starting back in 2004, the most different winners to start a season is 5, and that actually includes last season. So I want to pose the question, is there a different mentality? And we'll go back to, say, 2000 when you won the championship. Do drivers go into races with a different mentality this year?
Well, I think these guys that have just won these 4 races, they've got a little security blanket. They don't have to worry about it for a while. But, you know, when you get to race 20, 21, 22, 23, you know, we don't know how many winners they're going to be by then. So at that point in time, points are still going to be important, right. More wins. So these guys, they're going to go to Fontana this weekend trying to win that race.
Yeah.
Points are important,
Yeah,
obviously.
Points are important. And you know, I like to see what Kevin says. It gives us an opportunity to be more aggressive. Yep. Okay, now, if they start the season here, and they get more aggressive through these middle races, right. Then chances are when they get to those last 10, aggression has become a way of life for them. And they're going to be really aggressive in those last 10 races. So it has an opportunity to grow as the season goes, to try more things, to experiment, to understand how far you can stretch those boundaries. So the last 10 races are going to be exciting.
You know, something else, too, guys, that really I thought about last night was I can remember when I went to Richmond trying to make the chase, and I knew I was in it, how I raced that Richmond race versus knowing I had to do a certain thing in that Richmond race to make the chase. It is a completely different mindset. I can't imagine being able to race 25 races with that mentality. I mean, that's fun. Those guys are going to be having a good time. They're going to be enjoying it. They're going to be racing with nothing to lose. And when you race with nothing to lose, man, that's a lot of fun. But one thing, to Bobby's point, let's say we get to race 20, and we've had 16 different winners. All these guys that are having fun and are, you know, just really no pressure on them, guess what happens, man? The pressure gets tightened up big time. So in the back of all their minds, they got to be thinking, I need to get that second win, you know what I mean? But they're racing with freedom, and that's a completely different field.
Well, let me ask you, Bobby, a question. You know, I used to have a football coach that said you've got to practice as hard as you play.
Sure.
There's no magic switch that you can switch off and on. So if these guys are sitting here saying, I'm in. Now we're going to experiment. Now we're going to play around. How do they flip that switch back on when you get to the chase and say, okay, now it's game time? I know, I agree with what Jeff says. There's that freedom to go and race, but how do you, Jeff, when you get to that place, flip that switch, and now I'm a championship contender?
I don't think they can do that. I mean, I think they're going to have to be aggressive from now on. They're going to take some chances, but they're going to run that race like they're going to try to win. The mentality is you're going to go to win anyway. That's what you want to do. But when you get the last 10, you don't want to say, well, okay, I think I can go now because we've experimented. You're going to have to be going the whole time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, racing is like building blocks, man. It's like building a house or a skyscraper. You put one level on, then you put another, then you put another. What they're learning today is going to help them tomorrow. But what they're really looking at is how can I be better in June and July and August? And you know, it's just building blocks. So the teams that are hot right now, fast right now, they may not be. And people talk all the time about this lets them test at the racetrack when they're racing. Man, everybody's testing. I mean, every week's a test. So I kind of blow that away. But you know, more importantly than all that, Kyle, what position did you play in football? I mean, I didn't know you played football.
I'm sorry, man. I was in charge of H2O.
Yeah,
that was my job.
Boy.
That was my job.
Definitely the water boy.
You were the water boy.
Yes, baby.
All right, I want to take a look at the results page from this last race. Obviously, at the end of the day, a lot of parity. We had 8 different teams who were represented in the top 11 finishing positions. We had Roush, Petty, and Hendrick. They had a pair of cars up there, while Stewart-Haas, Childress, Ganassi, and Gibbs also had a car in the top 11. So is there parity now in this sport? I mean, 8 different teams in the top 11 spots?
I think it's like Oprah said, and you get a top 10, and you get a top 10, and you get a top 10. No, seriously, I think you look at Bristol. I think Bristol is a great equalizer, and Jeff talked about it earlier.
Yep.
Who would have thought that those guys would not change tires and have a shot at the race? They weren't winning cars. The winning cars, the 4 of Kevin Harvick, the 20 of Matt Kenseth, guys that ran up front had trouble. So it allowed this group to move up. So as those guys moved up, there was more parity in that top 10.
It was a great equalizer.
This was an old school. This was an old school Bristol race. This Bristol race and the last Bristol race, these last 2 Bristol races, reminded me a lot of how they used to be, where people would ride around, run 15th, 18th, 20th, and end up finishing 3rd, 4th, 5th. And that's what we saw. And by the way, that's a great thing. Bristol's come back. And the last 2 Bristol races have been awesome, man. I mean, it's been really, really great. So those finishes by those guys really reminded me of what Bristol used to be.
How about the rain? I mean, did the rain obviously come into play as far as all this parity?
It definitely changed the track conditions. It changed everything, what we saw throughout the whole race. I mean, guys were fast for a while. The track rubbered up a little bit more. Rain, they weren't as fast. They had to go back around. So I think it definitely put into a lot of people's hands, and some people, they thought they had it figured out, didn't have it figured out.
One of the other things that was very crazy about this is it ended with the mysterious yellow flag being flown with 2 laps to go. Now, I want to ask Jeff Burton first. Have you ever had an odd incident when you were behind the wheel of a race?
I've had several of them. Unfortunately, most of them were self-induced. But the one that I remember I thought was odd is I was late model racing at Orange County Speedway. We were racing at night, and the lights went out. I mean, you know, pitch dark, right? And one of the guys I was racing with, he pitted, and when the lights came back on, he pitted, and he told his pit crew that he had passed out, that he was the lights had just gone out. That was a pretty unique night.
How about you guys, Kyle?
Mine came at Pocono, 93. I know it's hard to believe I ever led a race, but I was leading a race at Pocono in 93. Davey Allison right on my bumper. We go down into turn 1, pick up the throttle, pop up on the little long pond stretch there or whatever, and there's a guy standing in the middle of the racetrack staring at me and Davey.
During the race?
During the race. I waved to Davey. Davey goes to the inside, I go to the outside. We split the guy. We did something else, and that's a whole nother story. But craziest thing in the world, at 160 miles an hour, a man standing in the middle of the racetrack.
And you missed him. That was a good thing. How about you, Bobby?
I was in that same race as Jeff Burton, but I was not the one that passed out. I did not pit, so I didn't pit, so I wasn't the one that passed out, so I was good.
The lights went out on your race as well.
They did, same race.
Unbelievable. And thanks, Jeff Burton, for joining us. Always good to have the opinion of 3 great drivers.
Well, I appreciate it. And I really noticed that there's a lot of senior drivers up that way, so I'm glad to be the junior member of the crowd.
Very good. Well, coming up next, we go inside the cars in Bristol and hear how it all went down as we scan all 43 from Thunder Valley. And up next, we pay a visit to the Hendrick shop as Dale Jr. and the 88 crew ring in their Daytona victory.
I was talking about
ringing the bell and how excited I was going to be, and I was just going to ring it as hard as I could. And so I remembered that when I got down there to ring it for the first time here in front of the employees. And it's just fun to be able to do that and share a moment together where we all celebrate the victory.
As a grown...
Edwards will be the winner of the Food City 500.
Hey, I'm Michael Learfield, front tire changer on the 99 Ford Fusion. We're really glad to win this race. The guys did a fantastic job tonight, and we couldn't be happier to win at Bristol. It's Bristol, baby.
Each week we pay tribute to the winning crew. This week working under the watchful eye of crew chief Jimmy Finnig. The 99 crew helped Carl Edwards get to victory lane Sunday night in Bristol. Justin Nottestad, Mike Lingerfelt, Colin Passy, Cameron Cobb, John Moore, Ryan McRae, Sean Ward, Joey Finnig, Darren Beach, Norm Lowe, Jim Watson, and Justin Coble. Congratulations, guys. Now, while the 99 team is enjoying their recent success, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte started the season on a high note with the win in Daytona. Our Marty Snyder caught up with the duo as they finally had a chance to ring in their victory.
Well, if you were here to celebrate the Daytona 500 win with these guys, you got to ring the bell and you got to get a T-shirt and a sticker. Not bad, but I'm assuming, Junior, since it was the Daytona 500 win you were celebrating and it was a month later, you probably gave an extra tug on that bell today, didn't you?
Well, I remember when we won the race and we went into the media center, I was talking about ringing the bell and how excited I was going to be, and I was just going to ring it as hard as I could. And so I remembered that when I got down there to ring it for the first time here in front of the employees. And it's just fun to be able to do that and share a moment together where we all celebrate the victory.
Yeah, Steve, it is good, as Junior mentions, to celebrate something like that with all the entire company. And you guys went around the entire company, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the best part of winning, in my mind, is celebrating with your teammates. You know, and you get that moment at the racetrack when they jump off pit wall and you go to victory lane, but it takes so many people to make it happen. That it's a cool thing we have going here. We get a chance to go around, and the place is so big and we're so busy, you never really get a chance to walk around and thank everyone, and this makes it a point. And everybody should have their little moment to know that they were a huge part of that victory, and that's kind of the whole idea.
Well, let's talk about what happened this weekend at Bristol. I know you told me two left fronts that didn't agree with the car. What does that mean exactly?
Well, you know, we think the track probably changed some after the red flag, and I probably got a little behind on the adjustments, and I think we got too tight, and there was a long run there that probably wore the first left front out, and we got a little behind. But then we put another set on, and they just didn't agree with our car. We had to pit on the green about 35 laps in, and the tire looked real bad, and then the tire we put on after that was fine. So, you don't know. It was a tough situation for everyone, for Goodyear, for everyone, everyone that was there racing. Between the rain, the cold weather, the fresh racetrack, the speeds were real high. We missed some stuff, and luck wasn't our way, but we've had a great start to the year. We're not going to focus on that one. We're ready to go to Fontana and build on it.
Well, he mentions a great start, Junior, and let's talk about that. Has this been the most fun you've had in a race car? Because the pressure's off, you're in the chase, and you're running well.
Yeah, I think that we really enjoyed last year, and as soon as the season was over with, we stood around in the garage area at Homestead and talked about how fun the season was and how much everybody was enjoying themselves and how we were enjoying working with each other. So, this season has been fun, but as a whole, I mean, these last several years have been really enjoyable. Right. Just the whole progression to getting to where we are today, to where we're running up front and feeling like we can show up and win a race.
Yeah, cool. All right, I got to have you put on your analyst hat, Steve-O. Let's talk about California. What do you expect there this weekend? Obviously, it was one of the best and most entertaining races last year.
Well, what makes California very unique is it's like the biggest short track we run at. It looks like on TV that these guys are out there drafting and they got all kinds of room like a Daytona, but really they're searching for every ounce of grip they can find at that place. It's slick. The tires fade really quick. It's really all about restarts. The restarts are crazy. That's how we had such a good run last year. At the end, we put tires on right towards the end and kind of stormed through the field. And you're going to see that a lot again. And it looks like it gets strung out, but there's a lot of strategies on pit road. You can short pit. There's just a lot of opportunity that you can get off sequence and maybe make something for yourself. And now with 4 guys locked in the chase, I think you can see some unique strategies come to the end of the race.
Does all that mean he's going to win? You guys are going to win?
No, but that means we have as good a shot at any. That's the great thing about racing. 43 guys line up. They all have the same opportunity. Someone's going to win the race. So we figure we might as well work hard and see if it can be us.
You like your shot this weekend or what?
I like the racetrack. I think that the last several times we've been there, we've had some pretty good race cars. And, yeah, I mean, it's a track where we can move around and change our line, and the driver can have a little input on how the car's driving, and he can find speed out there. So if we're all working on the same page all weekend and tuning on the car and studying real hard throughout the practices, I think we can accomplish that goal.
All right, by the way, I think we should send a T-shirt to Rick and to Bobby and Kyle. They're all in the studio this week. Don't you agree?
Yeah, if they want a T-shirt, we'll send them a T-shirt. We'll actually get them a sticker. I know.
Wow, we are nice, aren't we?
Kyle probably likes stickers, so we'll send him a couple of those.
He's probably got a few stickers. All right, T-shirt stickers on the way, guys.
I love Marty thinking of us. That was very nice of him.
I know. Yeah. And I need a sticker for my guitar case, so I appreciate that, Dale Jr. I do. I really do.
And I like shirts, a medium.
It's medium. It's medium for Bobby. All right, up next, we turn up the volume, go inside the cars, and hear how it all went down in Bristol with our Scan All 43.
Left front tire is gone. I can't even use the brake. One of that left rear tape off the left lane, one lane, one lane. Gosh, dang it. I couldn't see that guy in that damn crowd.
The all-new.
Welcome back to NASCAR America, one of my favorite times of the show. It's time to relive the Bristol race and become a part of the teams through the radios of the drivers, crew chiefs, and spotters as we scan all 43. The Sprint Cup Series was supposed to have a normal day at Bristol Motor Speedway on Sunday, but rain forced NASCAR officials to delay the green flag, creating more tension in Thunder Valley.
It's been some luck early, so we know what this team's capable of, so we just got to go out and execute it.
With some close calls. Yeah, you just make sure you're on the gas. Still a lot of rubber out here, not a ton, but there's something there, so that should be good. I'll give you the best feedback I can. All right, guys, let's have some fun. Nice and smooth. Long race right here.
Appreciate all the hard work, guys. Stay focused, stay on top of things today. Be ready for anything.
The green flag is about to fly at Bristol, and indeed it is out.
Anxious drivers navigated through the crowded half mile, and with more weather in the mix, teams jockeyed to get an advantage early.
Left front tire is gone. I can't even use the brake. One of that left rear tape off the left lane, one lane, one lane. Gosh, dang it. I couldn't see that guy in the damn crowd.
What's that down here at the backstretch?
I don't know, but it looked like you hit it.
I think it's a NASCAR pinata. Impossible to miss it. Hopefully it's okay.
The battery come out.
Right there is going away. Yeah, worse every lap. I'm not 100% sure, but it could be debris puncture.
Tires down, tires down. Right front.
Jimmy, the tire just came apart. It's not even flat. Wow. But I'm sure, you know, that's something that we did. I'm sure it's our fault.
By lap 119, rain started falling again, but this time Mother Nature forced the race into the evening.
This has officially turned into a Bristol night race.
With a cool track, speeds increased along with rare three-wide racing.
Tight three, tight three, tight three.
Looking inside. I don't know what the hell that was. Sounds like I got a flat.
Kurt Busch wrestling the lead away from Matt Kenseth.
Driving away here.
Still there, still there, still there, still there. Guy wasn't clear.
Caution down, caution down, caution down. Right up here in front of you.
Watch your back.
Brakes were locked up, man. Brakes were locked up. I just got peeled straight from behind real hard. Oh, wheels, everything are good, though.
Man, everybody just stopped.
Carl Edwards making it interesting.
He's been able to make some passes on the inside.
Stay smart now, focus.
Oh, trouble! Kyle Busch spins out of turn 4.
That's right away. Why can't we finish the race?
This should be interesting. Multiple strategies. No stop, no tires, 2 tires. The race leader, Carl Edwards, on none.
4 cars showing a lot of smoke up there in your lane. Go low, go low. Sorry, guys. I should have seen that coming.
Stop so they can get the equipment to you, please. Looking good for what's behind you. Feeling good. Staying out. Stay out. No one had anything for you there, that wrong. You had it covered.
Go down and tell those 15 guys I'm sorry. I got sideways and then caught. It's just a handful.
What, you try to John Force it out of the box or something? I don't know. That ain't got nothing to do with turning right.
39 laps to go.
Carl Edwards gets a hot start.
2 to go. 2 yellows out. Yellow light here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. They're not waving the yellow flag. Now they're waving it. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Oh, the flagger didn't wave it.
The radio didn't call it either.
What's it for?
Dude, I don't see nothing.
There's nothing else here.
What's the caution for? No idea. NASCAR never said nothing. I think the lights came on and they just felt obligated to throw it.
It'll be just fine. I'd be happy to do another restart. Don't forget you're the boss. Nobody knows what the yellow's for. It's raining. Yeah, it's raining like hell. Caution car is down. We lost it. Show them the yellow in the checker.
Yellow and checker this time, I believe.
4 races, 4 different faces in victory lane.
And Carl Edwards will be the winner.
Ooh, awesome, guys. Way to go.
So unique to NASCAR, you get to listen in as all the players are talking about what takes place both on and off the track. Now, I want to dive a little deeper into the races of 2 particular drivers, and let's start with our future Hall of Famer, Jeff Gordon.
Yes, Jeff Gordon at Bristol. I'm telling you, this guy, first time in his entire career, hard to believe, he started the year 4 races in a row with 4 top 10 finishes. Has never done that. With everything he's done, has never done that, which is a personal best. Here on pit road, you might be able to run 3 wide on the racetrack. You can't run 3 wide on pit road. He gets into David Reagan, a little bit of damage. Crew did a great job of adjusting the fender, getting it off, getting the downforce back in the car. He ran with Denny Hamlin and his teammate, Casey Kane, all night long. That's where they ended up, same place.
Bobby, let's go from Jeff Gordon to the youngest driver in this top 10. That's the 42 of Kyle Larson.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I've looked at Kyle all season long. He started off last year running a few Cup races, and I think this was his first top 10 of the year. But he's been competitive all season long. He had a little trouble at Daytona, but for his first year in the series, he's driving for Chip Ganassi, a great race team, a great organization. But, you know, he don't have to worry about last year's setups. It's just this year. So he's really not having to concentrate on changing setups and having to understand the track and what the setups are going to mean to him. He just goes out there and runs fast all the time. 2 impressive performances out of 2 of the drivers in our top 10. Well, short track action didn't disappoint this weekend, and neither does the short track action around the country at tracks like Showtime Speedway in Clearwater, Florida, which was nearly demolished for a state road project before being sold and reopened. Weedsport Speedway in Weedsport, New York, the only dirt track Richie Evans ever won at, and Martinsville Speedway in Ridgeway, Virginia, NASCAR's longest tenured track, and where we'll be in 2 weeks. More NASCAR America next.
As a grown...
This day in NASCAR. In 1937, Mark Donohue, the man who scored Roger Penske's first wins in both Sprint Cup and the Indy 500, was born in New Jersey. 1984, BP, Benny Parsons, wins at Atlanta for his 21st and final Cup win of his career. In 1991, Kenny Schrader gets the win at Atlanta, snapping his 36 race winless streak. And speaking of Kenny Schrader, 2 weeks ago he mentioned that Tony Stewart was the most talented driver overall of anybody in the world.
Yeah, and I agreed with him that day, and I still agree with him. All around, no matter what, midgets, sprint cars, dirt cars, cup cars, doesn't make any difference. He's a throwback driver. He's the A.J. Foyt of our generation.
And also, you know, he will come over this physical part because he is so mentally tough. I've been his teammate for years, and I know he will overcome this, and he'll win before long.
We'll talk more about Tony Stewart, as well as we'll hear from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tomorrow. From all of us here at NASCAR America on NBCSN, thanks for joining us. Coming up next, it's Pro Football Talk. Enjoy.